Hello there, everyone. TheAndrata here, and welcome back to episode 17 of our FTB OceanBlock Let's Play series, where today we have some more base updates, and we're working on auto processing of our chunks, our ore chunks that we're getting. So let's get started. All right, so in between episodes, I have been continuing our base expansion, getting everything updated and moved around and all that stuff. So as you can see, our refined storage system is gone here. Our thermal stuff is gone. Our tinker stuff is gone. I outlined our downstairs. I did go ahead and swap all this out with grass. I made an exchanging gadget, recipe for which is super simple. I guess you can't pull recipes up while in your backpack. What the heck? Recipe. Okay, not sure. That's weird. Exchanging. Oh, I guess because it's full of energy, it has a different recipe. But anyway, it's just a couple diamonds, and then there's the exchanging gadget. Super simple. And then I just swapped out all of the gravel that we had lying around with dirt. And then since there was grass, around, it spread. Let's see, we got about 8 hours in our time in a bottle, so it's been a little while. I've been working for a bit. Cleaned up our sluice area. I compacted all of this down. It was pointed out in the comments, and I don't have it pulled up, so I'm sorry whoever it was who pointed it out to me. But the drawers in between aren't needed, which makes sense. These do have their own inventory and everything. So we were able to compact this down quite a bit and get it to pretty much fit on this little island here. So I think this is okay. I'm going to keep it here. Move the blue ice over to here and the lava to the other side so we could shift all of this back by one so that all of these now line up perfectly. And there we go. I do still have the end stone one set up here, but it's got a cloth mesh because we were doing the dirt processing. And I have all of these turned off for the moment by turning off the water supply so they can't actually do anything because I don't want these chests filling up. The only one that I have operating is the netherrack one because it doesn't have a whole lot of stuff that it makes. So having it run is fine. But yeah, we'll figure out glowstone. I don't know so much that it's super needed outside of the draconium dust that you can get from this because we got the ender lily seeds and all that stuff. So I don't know, I don't know. I also went ahead and made obsidian seeds. As you can see here, that is a tier 3. So we have a couple quests we need to turn in. But that is a tier 3, so I can get some obsidian essence because I was making drawer upgrades, needed obsidian, and got tired of doing water and lava. So we have obsidian seeds being produced now. Took the drawers away from here, and you'll see why in a moment. Apparently I made a mess, though. You go there. Yes, and you're there, so we can access that to be able to turn that off as needed. Okay, so if we go upstairs, and then we just have our aqueous accumulator. I was too lazy to move it. So, I mean, it's fine to sit there. It doesn't make too big of a difference. Oh, and I missed a cobblestone. Need to go upstairs and grab some dirt. So as you can see here, refined storage, I have moved it up top here. Let's go ahead and get some dirt so I can fix that spot down there. And we'll talk about the other things that I've done. Just gotta clean that up real quick. So refined storage is moved upstairs. If we come down here, you're gonna see, get off of there. You're gonna see we have our ferro flare lantern still here. I did go ahead and make flux points, and I also made a bit of flux dust. The flux dust is super simple. If we look here, flux dust, it was just redstone and titanium on low temperature. So I just did that right here since we already had this set up. So just put the, redstone titanium in there, and that gave us 32 flux dust, which allowed me to make flux points, or a couple more flux points, that is, because we can now make the flux cores. And again, obsidian was needed for this, as well as ender pearls and blaze powder, but we have both of those. So it's a simple recipe. So we have a flux point there. I went and took our energy cell here, and let me talk about how this is, because this is generally the way I set up. And normally I would have done this on camera, but I ran out of power for all the stuff that we needed, so I needed to get it set up and running. So when I'm setting up my Flux network system, I generally set it up to have 2 networks, okay? We have an input network and an output network. The input network is going to be what inputs into your buffer, your energy cell, your highest tier of buffer power. So all of your buffer power is going to go into your energy cell on your input network. And if we fly up top here, and we look, I made some more lapidary dynamos. So we have all of these running. And then I have just a bunch of, rubies and sapphire in here, which actually, now that I think about it, I think I need to take some of those for my drawer system that we'll talk about too. So then on top of our energy cell here. Now, the reason that we have to have an energy cell here is because these pipes do not connect to Flux networks on the Flux plugs. The way these pipes work is that I can't remember. I read the Discord before, on the GitHub before. If the block doesn't actively have power outputting, these won't connect to it, and Flux plugs do not. They're not an active power block. So you have to have some sort of buffer in between for this in order for it to work. So I have an energy cell just sitting here. Eventually, maybe we'll switch this over to something else, but it works for now. And then I just have a Flux plug on our input network, and this is our lapidary dynamos. And so what happens is the power will flow from here, and it's going to go down into this Flux point, which is going to output power into our cell. So it goes from here all the way into the cell. And then on the other side, I have a Flux plug called energy cell output, and that is going to be our output. And all of our devices are going to connect to the output network, the green network. So if we pop over to our thermal area, and if we look down here, you're going to see I have a Flux plug or a Flux point that is on the output network, and it's called thermal machines. And so anything green essentially is a output, which should be machines. Anything red would be an input. That's power generation, if that makes sense. And the reason that I do that, you could have it all on one network, and that's perfectly fine. But the reason that I like to do this is so that you can monitor what's using all your power, because Flux Plugs has the ability to have network statistics. So you can see, we're using 13 RF per tick right now. Whatever flux point this is, which I didn't name, so I need to go figure out where the heck I put this. This is our refined storage. We can disable the limit for that. So our refined storage is using 13 RF, and our energy cell output is taking 13 RF from our battery into it. So yeah, if you want an in-depth look into Flux networks, I do have a mod spotlight. One episode, maybe I think it's about 25 minutes or so, breaks down Flux networks, how to make everything, how to set up your network, usages, what all these switches do, all the little tabs and all that stuff. One of the best things though that Flux networks has is wireless charging for inventories. So we can say, okay, I want my curio slots to always stay charged. And what that's going to do is make sure that this battery here gets charged. If it was working, wireless charging, apply. Armor slots, hotbar slots, offhand, main hand, sure. Enable wireless. In theory, that should be working. But it does not seem to be charging this, nor this. Normally, in order to do wireless charging, you don't need, I don't think, maybe you do. I know that there is the Flux controller that allows you to control your network, and the Flux controller enables power transfer across dimensions, but maybe it does wireless charging too. Anyway, so that's how that is set up. If we come up here, as we talked about last episode, I went ahead and got more magma blocks. I set up drippers that dripped on the magma blocks, and I AFK'd for a while I was working on all this other stuff. And I set up, all of these auto processors. The convenient thing with these is that they all connect to each other, and then they can all access the singular inventory. So I didn't have to connect, this one. I don't have to run a pipe over to this drawer or anything, because this is connected to this, which is connected to this. It all can access the same inventory, which is great. So now we have 9 things producing lava, which is keeping this full and slowly but surely filling this guy up. Though our netherrack is using, lava currently. But yeah, so far it's been able to keep up, and we've had a positive lava gen, a very slow positive, but it's been positive, so I'll take that. Which is crazy though that it takes 9 of those to keep up, just with that netherrack one too. And wait until we upgrade to netherite and get power on those things. And then lastly, we have our wall of drawers. Okay. This is generally how I like to set up my refined storage system in conjunction or combination with storage drawers. And so for our refined storage system, I have a cable coming off of there. And that's the one unfortunate thing about this base is running cables is very challenging. So I have this coming off of there, and then I have it, going around so we can split to any direction. It comes all the way down here, goes straight up, and then connects all the way to the back of this drawer controller. And I put this on the back instead of the bottom so that I can access this as needed. And what this is an external storage from Refined Storage. And if we look for external storage, the recipe is fairly simple. A couple cores plus a processor, cables, and chests and everything, and it makes an external storage. And what the external storage does is it allows you to store items externally, but be accessible inside of your refined storage system. So, for example, we have 4,000 leather available to us. But if we look inside of our disk drives, we only have 6,000 items being used, right? Also, I had to make another 16K storage disk before I set this drawer system because we ran out of room. So like we have 4,000 leather, 4,000 pork chops, 4,000 inferium essence, 10,000 iron nuggets. How is that possible if we only have 6,000 items stored in here? I'm gonna actually pop downstairs real quick and grab my bed and bring it up. We can set our bed like here. Put this away and almost nighttime. But yeah, so how's that possible? There's only 6,000 items in there, but we have 10,000 nuggets. TheAndrata, you hacker. How are you doing this? Well, it's that external storage. So an external storage hooked up to a drawer controller from storage drawers allows refined storage to see the inventories in all of these drawers. And then on each of these drawers, which is why I made the obsidian seeds, we have storage upgrades and void upgrades. So each one of these can hold, this is the gold tier, which is 8 times, which I think is 4,096 items per drawer. Is that assessment correct? Because these have the gold. Yes, 4,096 items per drawer by default, or with the upgrades. And so refined storage can access all that. And if we take a look at our external storage, I set this to have a priority of 10, a high priority, which means any items that get put into here. So if I go here and I take out, a stack of pork chops, if we look in here, there is 4,032 pork chops. Now, if I were to come over here and I were to put this into our refined storage, you would think it would go into our refined storage because look, 4,032, 4,096. Let's sleep real quick. And you're going to say, oh, well, you just dumped it into your disk, right? No. Since I set a higher priority on this, refined storage is smart and says, okay, this is the priority for storage. And since pork chops are in here, it put the pork chops back into the drawer. Simple as that. So yeah, this is how I like to set up my refined storage system so that I don't have to keep making tons and tons of disks. Most likely throughout this series, we may not have to use even more than these two. Maybe bump up to, maybe we'll get to a 16K storage disk or a 64K storage disk at some point. But by setting up drawers and maintaining your drawer system, you don't have to worry about, refined storage disks getting all out of whack. And then we set up compacting drawers. And compacting drawers, we've made them before already in the series, but just to refresh, compacting drawer recipe is stone, pistons, a drawer, and an iron ingot. Now, the nice thing with compacting drawers is that if you put you put your stuff in there, refined storage is going to see this glowstone, this 206 glowstone as 206 glowstone or 51 full-size glowstone, or the same thing with redstone. It just stops you from having to craft all of the different blocks. I don't have to, if I want an iron block, I don't have to put 9 iron in a grid. And then when we get to auto crafting, I don't have to teach refined storage, hey, this is how you make iron blocks. Nope, it already has iron blocks available to it. Caveat with using these drawers is that refined storage sees each of these as separate. So refined storage may think you have 65 diamonds and 7 blocks of diamond, which would be another 65. And you don't. You only have the 65 diamonds. So just something to keep in mind. In a pack like this, where resources are infinite, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. But if you're like end game crafting, when we get to like these sections here, where we have to make like, I don't even know, like creative capacitor where we need, even this stuff doesn't really require. I'm looking for something that requires like compressed stone like 95 or something like that. You know, if you get into something like that, then you're going to have an issue because refined storage is going to see like the regular stone and the compressed stone as available to craft with, and it can throw its numbers off. But for the most part, it's easy to work around if you know what you're looking for. But yeah, so there is our storage wall. Now you may be wondering what these are for over here. These are all of the chunks that we need to be able to process. And I think that encompasses pretty much all of the chunks. I think, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yes. So this encompasses all of the chunks that need to be compacted down so that they can be processed. It also includes the uraninites, because those can also be compacted into a dense uraninite and then smelted up, and that will make raw uraninite. Which actually I should grab one of these, smelt it up real quick so I can throw this into the drawers, because we are going to try and set up processing, and then maybe we can dive into power and start getting some, you know, renewable power energy. But anyway, so there's uraninite. It can go into a drawer just like that, so then we don't have to worry about it when we get to that point. But I need to get these processed. Couple options with this. We could continue to use what we had in the past, which was the crate with the compacting upgrade. The crate, though, isn't the fastest thing in the world. And what I worry is that it will get overwhelmed, and we're going to get back stuff in our refined storage system if we just let it operate as, you know, on its own. Let's put these guys in here too. Right. I didn't have rubies or sapphires in those. No. Okay. So the crate system, though it works, like I said, I'm afraid that it's going to get overwhelmed. So what we can work on setting up is a crafter from from RF Tools. Crafters are some of the best items. This can handle 8 recipes at a time. So we're going to need to get, how many was there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, 18. So we would need 3 crafter tier 3s. So we would need 3 of these tier 3 crafters, but what we can do is set them up so that they will automatically do the compacting for us, because you can teach them recipes, and they are fast. Let me tell you, they are absolutely insanely fast when it comes to the crafting. We're going to use these also for our inferium processing. As you can see, we have no inferium. Oh, no, you're not supposed to actually be there. Yeah, all of this was not supposed to be here. I want all the inferium essence in our refined storage system at the moment, because we're going to process all this to supremium automatically through the crafters. So I want all of this. Yes, it's going to overload. I mean, we're going to have a ton of inferium essence in our system, but that's fine because we now have a bunch of room. Like, as you see, we have so much storage space available to us. But we're going to have, 4,000 inferium essence, and that's actually in our system. But anyway, so let's go ahead and start working on the crafters. Okay. So the crafters are going to require us to craft a tier 1 crafter, a tier 2 crafter, and then a tier 3 crafter. And then we're going to need machine frames for each of these. So we're going to need at least 3 of these machine frames. 2 and what am I running out of? Blue dye. We have plenty of lapis, so we can make a stack of blue dye. That's fine. So there's machine frames, and then crafter tier 2 is going to require us, crafter tier 1. We're going to need some redstone torches, so let's just make a stack of those. Tier 1, and then we're going to need some planks. And then we're going to need crafting tables. Now there's like the tier 2, that also requires crafting tables. Let's make, I think 12 is actually what we needed. That was unintended. 2 and 3. Okay. So I guess I do need more crafting tables. Planks, wood, logs. That's the word I'm looking for. Crafting tables, and let's get all these upgraded to tier 3. Okay, we're also going to need a flux point. I think I have one. Nope, I don't. But we do now. So we're going to need a flux point for all these. And then we're going to need an advanced exporter. Are we going to need an advanced exporter? I don't actually think we are, because we have we can only have 8 recipes per thing. So I don't think we're actually going to need an advanced exporter for this. I think a regular exporter will be fine. But we're going to need 3 exporters. And then we'll figure out the other parts of it later. Okay, so what are we going to do? Okay, so let's go ahead and set these up. And I guess we could just set these up in this area. Or do we want to set, that would give us a usage for this space. We could set them up here. Yeah, why not? Why not? You know what? This space, we have the space available to us. Why not use it? Okay, so what we're going to want to do is pop underneath here. And you know what? I probably should do this from the top so that I'm not affected by flying. Okay, so these are all going to need power. So we're going to get some energy pipes, and we're going to set these guys up. Boop, boop, boop. And then get the flux point. And I should be able to just like pop it here. So your network is going to be on the output network, and you are going to be the, oh goodness, I missed, and I'm going to fall. Okay, so you are going to be the chunks crafters. Okay, and you can disable limit. I always tend to disable limit on these things. They're never going to pull that much power, so it doesn't hurt. Some machines though will pull all of your power, so it's probably not a good practice to get into, disabling the limit. But I don't like being bottlenecked at all, even though it's 800,000 RF that the limit is set to. So then we set that to extract, and it's going to go ahead and do the thing with these crafters. So what we can do is start grabbing our recipes, right? So we can say, okay, fluorite chunk's going to be a problem because we haven't gotten very much fluorite, but we can take our lapis, right? And we can come over here. And what I want to do is set up the exporters too. So we can say, hey, refined storage, export these items into these. So we're going to say lapis is going to go into this, and this is going to be our lapis crafter. So if we take this and we come up here and we click here and we say, that's my recipe, and we hit apply. What we want is all items and input slots are consumed, and the results of the crafting operation is going to go to the output buffer. That's exactly what we want. We want clusters to come out. So we're going to hit apply, and that first recipe is going to be saved. So if I put these in here, boop, and that was on slow mode. Okay, converted all those over. Let's go ahead and grab redstone. We're going to do the same thing. Teach the system. You're going to export redstone chunks into here. And then we're going to come over here to our recipes. We're going to say redstone chunks, apply. And if we put these in here, bam. You see how much faster that was on fast mode? Yeah, this is why we're using these over the crate. Yes, the crate has more inventory, so we could set them all up on one, but at this point, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Okay, so that was you. We're gonna want you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can come over here. We can say, okay, these two are already done. Let's get these out of the way. Let's do diamond chunks, emerald, lead, titanium, tin, cobalt. And these can have 9 exports, so we don't necessarily, we can do, it'll be fine, but it only has 8 recipes. So, there's that. Apply. Just always make sure you switch to the next tab before you, do your recipe. I run into that all the time where I forget to set the next recipe. Apply. Apply. And cobalt chunks. Apply. So if we pop all this in there, look at that. Look how quick that is. Absolutely insane. Though why it's not doing those diamonds, I think it went so fast it was actually a inventory bug. Like it actually had processed, but it was so fast it didn't register. So yeah, that is how the crafters work. So instead of me going through, what we're going to do is take all these clusters, we're going to throw them in here because they're going to end up going into here, and we're going to have exporters set to put them into our pulverizer and do our thing. Eventually, we're going to get into mechanism where we can 3x all this stuff, but for now, like I said, it's infinite resources, so it's not too big of a deal that we're only getting 2 iron instead of 3 iron from the process. So that is, this. And then we're going to have all the extra pieces will all sit in here for all 8 of these recipes instead of sitting in our thing or our drawers. So everything will end up coming into these crafters, which is what I want. I want these to act as our intermediate buffer until we get 4, and then it'll fill up here. Yeah, essentially that's the way that this is going to work. Now, one thing that we're going to want to do is grab a set of each of these, and then I'm also going to need some cobblestone. You don't necessarily have to do this, but it'll save you later if for some reason, say all of a sudden you get 20,000 iron chunks at once. That can be a problem. So what you want to do is you can go ahead and set these up inside of here. And I did get redstone, right? Yes. So if we set these up, diamond, emerald, lead, titanium, tin, cobalt. And then we take our cobblestone and we fill in the rest of these slots. And then we say, hey, sir, remember what's in the buffers? It will remember, and it will only allow cobalt to go into this slot. So you'll only be able to have, 64 in here at a time instead of having to give me the things. Sometimes it's when you have it on the remember layout, though, it gets kind of weird when accessing the inventory. It's like you can't. Maybe we're not going to do this. Normally I would, and for our when we get to the Supremium Essence and stuff, I will. But for this, yeah, the way that's working is really weird. So we're gonna not do that for now. Okay, but anyway, so what we need to do is then run cables over to here, so we can do that from over here. We can just run straight under our bridge here, which is great. Let's go ahead and get cables. There's my cables. So we can go, here. Building with the hover or the jetpack is not the easiest. Just saying. Bam. Okay. And then we'll come from here. We'll go around and up. And the nice thing is we only have to connect one of these. So come on, place the cable. There. And then I need to somehow, there we go, park myself here so I can break these. So now we have this exporter set up, right? So if I take these drawers or these items here from here, and I were to attach this to our drawer system, and we can just attach it there and it'll work. It's going to start exporting stuff into here. And then as it exports, it'll go. Now, one thing we may want to look into is getting speed upgrades from refined storage, refined speed. And I think that's going to require sugar. Yes, which means we have to get some sugar cane. But if you remember, we planted sugar cane over here, and we should have quite a bit of this. Yeah, look at all that sugar cane. Any of these things that we have planted, we're going to want to go ahead and set up a drawer for. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, because they're going to just infinitely continue growing. And then sugar is a block of sugar cane. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Okay, well, block of sugar cane can go there. Just give me those back then. And then sugar. There we go. And then at refined speed upgrade here. Just need to get an upgrade. So we're going to be able to do 2. Now that we have all this set up, we'll be able to get into auto crafting, which is going to be great. You know what? In speed upgrades, we're going to want a stack upgrade as well, which is going to require us to have 4 speed upgrades. So let's do that. Let's get the upgrades. We're going to need the improved processors. We should be able to make a good amount of those until we run out of silicon, I think. But remember, we have silicon essence, so I'm not too worried about that. And I should set up the other furnace that we have, that Supremium furnace that is significantly faster than this, though it does require coal. But let's throw these in here. Speed upgrades. Okay. And then again, more quartz enriched iron. Issue is going to be quartz. And then we can get a stack upgrade. And the stack upgrade is going to be, it's going to help us more than the speed upgrade, I think, at the moment at least. So now it's going to start putting stacks of those things in at a time. Yeah, see, there we go. And then we can take all this stuff. And then we need to get importers set up to import into the system. But that shouldn't be too difficult, so we can grab those. Let's grab an importer real quick just so I can show y'all how this flow is going to work before this episode ends. Bam. So we'll get an importer, and we'll set this up on the top here. Ugh. Flying is a pain sometimes. There. And so now it'll import items straight into our refined storage system. It's going to be slow, though. We're going to have to get another stack upgrade, but I can work on that in between episodes. So it's going to import. And then, so what I'm going to do is that for all of these, right? I'm going to set all of these up because eventually, you know, like this has run out of lapis and all that stuff. So we can just quickly lock it. And then eventually we're going to end up with empty drawers. And then all the extra is going to sit in here, and we're going to have all these clusters sitting in our system. Then we need to work on getting the clusters processed, which is going to be a similar setup. We're going to have an exporter, and it's going to export into the pulverizer for the things that can be pulverized, which everything can be pulverized if I remember correctly. And then, you know, everything else can get smelted up as needed. We're going to have to set up the buffer drawer or the buffer chest in between here again, but that's okay. We won't worry about it right now. But yeah, anyway, so that's it for this episode. That is our process. So in between episodes here, I'm going to go ahead and I'll get all of these set up, these crafters set up with their respective chunks and everything, so they can start doing the thing. And the next episode, we can come back and get all of this processed. And then that is fully automated ore processing from generation to ingots, I guess you could say. And what we're going to do, once we get this set up, we'll get a ender chest over here with a importer set up with our refined storage system. And all this will dump into an ender chest, which will go into our refined storage system, which will sort into the drawers as needed. Chunks will go to where they got to go, yada, 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 bada bing, bada boom. So yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it, and it really does help out the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.